So, ladies and gentlemen, and for today, especially soccer fans, because today we're going to talk about the king of sports, soccer, and I'm also going to show you the U.S. soccer ball. And you guys know that in general, in any country, when there's a start, it means there's 10 championships, but this one means this three stars, it means the three European times champions, they are the women. And today we're going to talk about a very talented professional soccer player that has been with a U.S. national team very young at 16 years old. And she has a very diverse soccer background. She's actually from the same region I am from Massachusetts, and she's like a few minutes away from me even right now. But we're going to do this interview like you guys are always seen it. Will be half of the screen, me and half the guest, and we're gonna talk about all the places that she's been playing and about her strengths and everything. And I'm gonna take her through all of the career. And like you guys said, of course, today will be another interview in English. I know you guys are used to having the Romanian sports people, but as you know, I already have, I think, even a quarter from my interviews has been done in English because there's been a lot of sports people. They all like belonging to our club. They're like from different countries. But today we're going to talk, like I said, about the king of sports. And also it's like a preview for the next year. Then the World Cup is going to take place again over here in Mexico and Canada. But today it's about my guest. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present you today nobody else than Anna Hurley. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Thank you again for your cooperation and for this opportunity that you give me to have this interview. And like I'm always like saying, I'm gonna start with from the scratch, from the bottom, and from the roots. And my first question is like how this one wonderful story of you like started, and what was the age that you came first to try to play this game, and who was the person that showed you the first step, or I could say who discovered you?
Yeah, so my story is pretty interesting. I started kicking a ball when I was about 2 years old.
Wow.
My dad had me kicking a ball with both feet on the front yard. It's Project Mbappe at its finest, so that I could develop that ambidextrous capacity. I could use my left and my right foot. And I started playing competitively when I was 7 years old. And my dad entered me into intramural soccer, which is within my town. And at the time, I was very passionate about gymnastics, but he wanted me to try at least give soccer a try.
Right.
And throughout the season, I really wasn't enjoying it. I actually wanted to quit, but he told me that when you commit to something, you give it a full chance before making a decision. So I listened to my father and I kept playing. And the last game of the season with that intramural team, I dribbled by 7 players and scored.
Wow.
And for the first time in my life, it was something that I really enjoyed. Soccer. I had never felt so joyful being on the field,
Right.
and the A team coach for the town happened to be there watching that game, and they recruited me for the A team, and then from there I my career soared.
Right. And you already mentioned that you're like interested in gymnastic. Were there any other sports that you're like interested before you start playing for good, like soccer?
It was really just gymnastics.
Oh, okay. And also because you said it's a pretty interesting story. Also, like I'm surprised that your father actually brought you to this game because I know that your father has been also an athlete, but he wasn't into soccer, and he was a tennis player. So he never tried to bring you into the tennis.
Well, my dad actually played soccer when he was younger. He
Oh, okay.
was playing both soccer and tennis. Those were his
Oh,
main sports. And then he
mhm.
also participated in basketball and baseball.
Wow.
But when he got to college, he had a decision to make. He could play soccer or tennis, and he decided tennis. Um, yeah, I tried out tennis when I was younger, and it was a great sport. I didn't try it as early as I did soccer,
Hmm.
and once I got into the town system, I was recruited from town to club, and my schedule just became so busy. I was playing for two teams at a time for 2 years until I fully committed to club, and then as I progressed through the club system, the travel to get to practices and games became further and further because it was a stronger league and it covered more area. So sometimes I was traveling to New York or Pennsylvania or New Jersey. So it
Right.
became a full time commitment type of thing.
Right. And I want to ask you, how was your childhood? Because you started like really young. It's like sometimes the age when people said when they born, like they throw into the water so they could started to swim. You started like at 2 years old, so you're like barely like walking or something. And I just wanted to ask you, how was your childhood, and if you enjoyed it, and you have any memories, or your childhood and your youth was like I could put an equal between that and the sports.
My childhood wasn't easy. I think I focused on excelling in all areas of my life that I was part of, whether it was academics, athletics, arts. That was something within my control.
Yeah.
So I always was putting in my maximal effort. And I would say I'm very grateful for the support that my father and my grandfather gave me as a child. My grandfather was one of the closest people in my life. I spent almost every day with him. Uh,
Oh,
he lived with my family, and their both my grandfather and my father's endless support and sacrifices for me to follow my dreams and all of the quality time that we got to spend with each other going to soccer was very meaningful to me. They never missed my practices or my games. So
nice.
that meant a lot to me.
Right, correct. And because you have them like next to you, and having the family, it's sometimes like this your strongest thing that could happen to you, and then could give you the strength inside you. I wanted to ask you, were you, because you like I said again, you started like very young. So I'm imagine like, or maybe you're like strong from the beginning, but I'm thinking maybe you just uh, getting stronger and stronger with experience, and you start to be strong mentally later on. Or maybe sometimes people are born being strong mentally right away. So was that like a something for you from the beginning, or you just develop like in time?
That's a really good question. I think when faced with struggle, there is an opportunity for you to grow. There
Yeah,
is an opportunity for you to learn and to become a stronger, better version of yourself. I think my experiences formed my strength. I think it brought out the resilience within me. I
yeah,
think those trials and tests and what you choose to do in those moments, what actions you take during and in response to adversity, that's what shapes you and that's what shapes your character.
yeah, correct. And talking about your strengths, and I know it's not good for like us to judge ourselves, but uh, which one do you think consider your biggest strength, and what are the things that you've been like continuously like practicing and developing not to become a disadvantage or a minus for you?
Yeah, so I would say one of my greatest strengths is my resilience. I do not take no for an answer. And I
Mhm.
think that is a commonality among some of the most successful people in the world. If you truly want something, if you have a goal, no matter how many times you fail, always getting back up. That's how you're going to get there. And when you fail, when you have the courage to try, even if you fail, you're learning something from that, and it takes you one step closer to success. You may fall 7 times, and the eighth time, that's when you have your triumph. But that's the
Right.
mentality that you have to take. If you don't try at all, if you don't even give yourself a chance at success or failure, then you don't learn, you don't grow. So I would say my resilience through various trials and very difficult trials in my life. I would say that's my strength.
Right.
And then something that I personally am trying to work on right now, I think, we have this voice in our head that loves to narrate everything in our life. It constantly yaps and makes judgments about everything. And sometimes that voice in my head, that self-talk is negative, and I've been doing a lot of work on myself recently ever since I got home to Boston this summer, and I'm
Hmm.
really trying to turn that negative critic within me into a positive ally.
Right. Nice. Correct. And now there's a portion that I always tell to all my guests to be the ambassador for your origins. So now that you're back in the Boston area in Massachusetts, uh, what are some places that are like your favorite and you couldn't like wait to see them again? Or what are some things that are like your habits all the time when you come back home? And also, how proud of you being from around this area?
I love Boston. Boston is my pride and joy. Coming back here has made me so happy to be able to see my family, my support system, and then my friends as well have been just amazing. It's been great getting to see everyone again and catch up. I think living in different countries gives you a lot of perspective on maybe some positives, some negatives, and it allows you to compare across places. And one thing that I've become increasingly grateful for here in Massachusetts is the amount of resources that we have. There are so many different businesses and resources that we have access to. One thing that I've recently got involved in is biohacking. So they're basically machines that help with your body's recovery and overall health. And there's a place very locally to here called Active Healing that I go to, and it's been phenomenal. It's been contributing to my health a lot. But that's just one example. You have so many different businesses around here, and you also have the freedom to access those resources. I'm doing strength and conditioning right now. And I think knowledge is power. Education unlocks doors, it gives you freedom. And I think approaching knowledge and people who have education in a certain area, approaching them with a spirit of humility is really important, and that's how we become better versions of ourselves. So having the freedom to access all of these resources and people that have a lot of knowledge and expertise in different areas is definitely something that I'm extremely grateful for being in Boston. And then I would say also the diversity of the cultures. I have friends across various different communities, and I love getting to understand different cultures and people, and learning about a vast range of human experiences. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
correct. And speaking about humans, now I want to ask you what are your models or your favorite soccer player, just not just from female or male sides, either like internally or internationally.
My favorite role model is actually outside of soccer, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be Tim Tebow. Tim
Oh, okay.
Tebow is a former NFL
Right.
player. He
Yeah.
was also a football player at the University of Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a man who is very strong in his faith. He has created the Tim Tebow Foundation, which
Right.
helps people across um, various different circumstances, people in need. And that's exactly what I want to do with my life. That's my biggest goal, is to, I've been trying to grow my career soccer wise,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the most important things that I feel I can do as I try to grow my platform is to use that voice to help many people and serve many people. I'm particularly interested in contributing to Alzheimer's research. My grandfather died of Alzheimer's, and my grandmother has Alzheimer's currently. So I got to witness that struggle firsthand, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. It's a very difficult disease. I want to
Correct.
help homeless people. I want to help animals that are abused or unwanted. There are a lot of different causes that really appeal to me, and there are so many people and animals that I haven't even met yet that are in need. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe, you can win trophies, you can win championships, you can have a great game, but all of that success is mainly personal to you. Significance is when you have an impact that's far greater than yourself. So I'm trying to work myself to a place of freedom that I can help as many people and animals as I possibly can, similar to
Yeah.
Tim Tebow.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I was supposed to ask you like in general all of the sports, but you adjusted correctly for like Team Tebow, which it's not part of soccer. But yeah, I want to actually, when I was thinking about it, I was want to ask you like in general all the sports, but like I said, you adjusted perfectly. Uh, Now I want to ask you because I see you play a whole bunch of positions like forward, winger, outside midfielder. And I want to ask you, which one do you think was like the hardest? Which one is your favorite? And if you ever wanted to play like another position.
I My personal favorite position is wing.
Hmm.
I am somebody that likes to take 1v1s and express my creativity on the dribble. I think dribbling requires courage, creativity, ambition, and the courage to try. Um, Even some of the best players in the world, like Neymar, he he would win some 1v1s and he'd lose some 1v1s. So
Right.
I think it takes a lot of character to play on the wing, and I also like crossing the ball. I like shooting. I like being in the offense. I'm pretty attacking minded. I like to press up high. So, wing is definitely my favorite position and the position that I'm most comfortable in.
Yep.
I would say probably the most challenging position that I've played in is in the midfield.
Hmm.
The midfield requires 360-degree vision
Right.
and awareness. Um, it's one of those positions that the amount of awareness and vision that it takes is more than the wing. Normally I will have the touch line behind me or to the side of me, but
Hmm.
in the midfield you have to know everything that's happening around you, and it requires a lot of stamina as well, you know, getting up and down the field consistently. So yeah, I think it's one of those positions that requires the most out of you mentally and physically.
Yeah, correct. Now I want to ask you, when you're at the beginning of your career, was it anybody, one of your colleagues that took you under their wing and started like to teach you a lot of stuff, or even the moment when you went to the national team, um, when you were 16 years old? Also, if there was somebody that would larger experience that uh, took you and started like to teach you the stuff that you know now.
I would credit a lot of my development to two people.
Hmm.
It would be Soren Balea, the head coach of World Class Soccer Academy, president of World Class Soccer Academy, and Dale Bammel. Dale Bammel was the father of one of the girls that I used to play with at Seacoast United.
Hmm.
And during the COVID era, I trained with Dale alongside my sister, and there was another professional that would show up there sometimes named Rachel
Hmm.
Hill. She's currently in the NWSL,
Hmm.
and Dale would train my sister and I for 5 hours a day over the weekends during COVID.
Wow.
And it was one of the most enjoyable eras of my career. Dale, I still call him up. He's the best. He taught me so much and really made me fall in love with the process, fall in love with training and bettering myself and learning. He he is just an incredible human being that I'm extremely grateful for, and he really believed in me and spent, I think one of the I think one of the most important and meaningful things somebody can give to you is their time, particularly quality time, and Dale
Right.
did just that for me.
Oh.
And
Very nice.
Soren, I think it's rare for to find somebody that would believe in you to the degree that Soren believed in me. I
Right.
was 15 years old. I was in high school, and my friend introduced me to Soren, and Soren put me on a U20 men's team, his
Yeah.
U20 men's team. And so here I was, this 5 foot nothing sophomore in high school, playing with guys, A, and B, guys that were a lot older than me. Some of
Right.
them are playing professionally right now, which is just incredible. But honestly, I expected it. Playing with the guys was one of the most enjoyable, best experiences of my life. They treated me like a little sister.
Hmm.
um, One person in particular, Herman Fuentes, he is on the Salvadoran national team right now, and he plays professionally in Europe. And he was the captain of the team, and man, was he a leader. He taught me so much, not only on the pitch and how to play, but he taught me so much in terms of his character. The way that he was able to lift up the whole team was just incredible to witness. And everyone on that team, despite me being a girl, they accepted me. The culture at World Class is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's just everyone was so kind. And Soren, to believe in me at that age, and to be honest, I was dealing with a lot at the time. My parents were going through a nasty divorce, and my grandfather had just died, and this was a huge loss for me.
Correct. Yeah.
And despite me having some struggles and taking on adult things as a 15, 16-year old, Soren stuck with me. He stuck with me through all the challenges. He believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. I had never played fully with a men's team at that point. I had never played 11v11. I had trained in with some groups, but nothing to the degree that Soren exposed me to. So I became a much better player because of Soren. I would not be the player that I am today without him. He spent so many hours tirelessly training me and just really truly cared about my development, and that's something that I'll forever be grateful for.
Yeah, correct. And I know how much he appreciated you, and that's why I put like a quote here, and I cut it in half because it was like really long. But basically, he was saying that he's been training a lot of players, either male or females, and but he never seen so many qualities, and especially the one that a coach is looking for. Like he's seen it in you. So yeah, it's like a it's like a mutual feeling. I imagine if he said that about you, and well, like what you said the last few phrases about him, it's like I guess it's the mutual feeling, and um, we're really happy to have him as a friend. You as a coach, and me, like I said, as a friend. Um, Also, I wanted to ask you, uh, how were your like international experience? I know with when you've been in Portugal, and especially when you signed your first professional contract in Australia in Melbourne.
Yeah, so I'm grateful for these experiences. Australia, I had 7 goals and 6 assists in 9 games. It was a really big accomplishment for me to be on my first professional contract and put up those kinds of stats.
Yeah,
There were challenges regarding just the logistics of my stay that I tried everything to make it work and to stay out there, but unfortunately I couldn't, and so I returned home after that. Um, I think this is one of the things with women's professional soccer that it's a lot different than the men's, and it really points out how mentally tough you have to be in order to enter women's soccer in the professional realm of things.
right,
There's not as much money within women's soccer as there is men's, so simple things like housing, food, transportation to the field, um, just the very basics of what you would need in order to survive. These things can be hard to come by depending on what contract you're on. And it's not just me that's had struggles with this. I have met a lot of professional female players. I'm part of a group chat of over 500 professional female players around the world. And unfortunately, this is a very common thing.
yeah,
And in Portugal, I was out there for about 2.5 to 3 months. I first went out there on trial and I made the team. And they gave me a contract. I moved into the apartment, and the the team thought that they would be able to do the visa process overseas and within a couple of days, but unfortunately it had to be gone about in a different way. They couldn't do that. It had to be done in the US. So the
right,
timing of it all, I ended up not being able to play in the league, but to get the experience to live out there for a short period of time, and the people that I met along the way, I'm sincerely grateful for. The other foreign girls were so kind, and the girls that were on the team from Portugal were so welcoming. Porto, the city was just beautiful. The
yeah,
people were so kind, and the food was amazing. So just to as difficult as some of the challenges have been, I was really looking forward to playing in Portugal. I wanted to make that work. I again fell in love with the team and the environment. So it was very unfortunate that I couldn't end up playing in the league, and I had prepared heavily for those trials, at the trial out in Portugal, and I had already flown out there and settled into an apartment. So definitely wish it worked out, but I think being grateful for what I did get to experience is really important because not a lot of people get to do that.
Yeah, correct. And I also forget to ask you about your latest international experience, like in Iceland.
Yeah. So this is a time that I am grateful for as well. Grateful for all of my experiences. I Iceland is very different than the US in the way that it's very nature oriented,
Right.
and this is a very positive thing from some aspects. To be in nature, to be able to go to a local river and drink the river water is
Yeah.
not something you could do here in Massachusetts. And they had wild animals. I volunteered on a horse ranch out there. Um, there were a lot of things about the environment that I had never gotten to experience before, which was really cool. But in terms of the resources, there aren't as many. For example, if you had to get an MRI, you would have to fly across the country in order
Ooh.
to do that. So resources weren't as handy. And when you're playing so many games in a season, we had, I think it was 18 regular season games and then some preseason games as well. So it probably would have totaled to 24. And to not have certain resources at hand for strength and conditioning and medical stuff, that made it very difficult. I was put into a position that I had never played before. I played fullback,
Oh,
and this was very different for me, but when I'm playing for a team, I am doing what is best for the team. Wherever the coach wants to put me,
yeah,
I will adjust, I will adapt and do my very best. Um, I came away from that experience, with some 90-minute games under my belt, and I got to see the level of competition out there. It was my first time playing top flight. It was the top division in Iceland. So, definitely a big achievement in terms of the trajectory of my career, but I'm excited for the next chapter. I terminated that contract, um, and I'm excited for the next chapter.
oh, nice. And maybe one of the things that you missed, even though people are complaining that in New England the weather is changing so fast and it's too cold, but in Iceland, imagine was colder than in here. And maybe you missed Massachusetts.
There were a lot of things that I was missing about Massachusetts. I I definitely miss the weather for sure. I think one thing that's very misleading about Iceland is you would look at the pictures and you would think it is a tropical place,
Yeah,
with the water and some of the different nature things you would see. And then you get there and it's 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit and you're
yeah,
like, what is going on? So,
correct,
yeah,
correct.
definitely miss the heat. Miss the
Yeah.
heat for sure.
And now turning back to the like internally, nationally, I've seen you play in a bunch of places. I don't want to go through all of them because it's gonna take us not forever, but like a long time. If you want to mention some of the most interesting ones when you play over here in US,
So, sorry, what was it?
I'm saying like you've played in US in a lot of places, even universities, but there's so many places that I don't want to go through all of them. If you want to mention the most interesting ones,
Sure. I would say locally, I played for Maine Footy in 2023.
yeah,
And then in 2024, I played for Merrimack Valley Hawks. So those were two of my favorite experiences. Playing for Maine footy, I lived in Portland, Maine for 2 months,
Uh,
and we had an awesome coach. Shout out to Will Pike. And I lived with two other girls on the team, and it was just an awesome stay. I love Maine. Maine in the summer is just a beautiful place. It's a perfect combination between some downtown city life ish. I guess Portland's a little bit more old fashioned compared to Boston, but I would say it's a city area. So you got that, and then you have so many trees, so many nature places,
yeah.
lakes, mountains. It was just simply beautiful. So living in that environment was amazing, and playing for Maine footy, I think a lot of things were just really well run. Um, the atmosphere in the stadium, they worked really hard to make the stadium a big thing in Portland, something that people would want to go watch games and get a crowd there. And so the atmosphere was just always electric, and I played a big role on that team. Will Pike put a lot of belief in me playing in the forward line, and I, yeah, I mean, I think it was a really solid season for me. It was one that I came away with a lot of good moments, new friendships, and just an overall great experience. And then I played for Merrimack Valley Hawks when I came home from Australia last year,
Yep.
and I was fortunate enough to play alongside some very talented college players from the University of Virginia in the ACC, University of Arizona, Stony Brook. So it was great to be in a competitive training environment with these girls. And then in the games, I came away with 6 goals and 3 assists in 6 games. And this was a huge achievement for me. It was a very positive season, really, to I think it was one of the best seasons I've had playing soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think every year I'm trying to play better and better, but that was a year where I just I just had a lot of, I don't know, I think just kind of belief in myself.
Right.
I was approaching every game with mantras in my mind, just trying to get positive reinforcement in my head that I could do these things. I can score, I can assist, and I practice really hard to be sharp and dangerous around the net. So, yeah, just overall a really positive experience and one that truly built my confidence.
Oh, yeah. Now I want to ask you some personal questions because I want to present always the guest, not just uh, from the professional side of you, also as a human being. So I wanted to ask you first, what you prefer the most, the mountains or the sea or the water?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I think each has its benefits. I don't think I can pick one. I like hiking up the mountains, and then if you take a run through the mountains, it's really good for your lungs because there's less oxygen up there.
Right.
So, a lot of runners come from Colorado, they running in the mountains is very good for you, so I like it from that standpoint, and mountains are just beautiful, but the ocean is, especially being back in Massachusetts, love having the ocean.
Oh,
I also surf,
oh,
so
nice.
that's almost like a spiritual experience for me whenever I'm out on the water and just waiting for the right wave on the surfboard and being at the the height of the water.
Yeah,
It's just so calming and beautiful and enjoyable for me. So I like both.
yeah, very nice. Yeah. Now I wanted to ask you because you're a female. What's your favorite flower?
Favorite flower? Oh no. I don't think I have a favorite to be honest.
So you like them all?
I like them all.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Well,
love plants.
that's an
I
easy
think plants
escape.
are great.
That's an easy escape. You could say that I like them all, as long as you know how to take care of them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Then I wanted to ask you not just through your career, just like in everyday life, if you have any, not just like superstitions, but maybe like habits, things that you do and uh, see that they bring you luck, and some of them maybe you just continue having them. Some of them you just like give up in time, or if you have things like that.
I used to.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to. When I was in the fourth through the eighth grade, I think. Or maybe, yeah, I think it was fourth through the eighth. It might have been even a little bit longer. But it's particularly the fourth grade, I would
Mhm.
wear a golden headband and a red ponytail. That was my it had to be a gold headband and a red ponytail from the dollar store.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So that was the only thing that you had, like you had nothing else important, like.
not really. No.
Oh, okay. Uh, Going back to the soccer, I wanted to ask you if you remember uh when did you score like the most goal in a game, and if you also can remember in any of the teams that you played, what was like the biggest difference that your team won?
So, the most goals I scored in a game was the last time I had a hat trick was with Bentley Greens in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
We had an away game and I scored 3 goals in that game.
Oh, nice.
Um, what was the other question?
And what was the biggest difference that your team ever won in wherever place you played?
The biggest difference as
Yeah.
in
As a
like
like if you won like 20 nothing or like 11-0 or something.
oh, okay. So probably with NEFC in the 7th or 8th grade, we won 13-0 against a team.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's really something. And also speaking about uh, I see that you play with on the t-shirt with like number like 28, 11. I don't know if you play with other ones. You can mention them if you remember. What are the other numbers that you uh, have in your t-shirt, and if there's any history between any of them?
So, majority of the teams that I've played on, I have number 10 or number 7.
Oh, okay.
So, with FHL, I had number 10. With Bentley Greens, I had number 7. With Merrimack Valley Hawks, I had number 7. And then with Maine Footy, I had number 10. And then when I was in high school, and majority of my youth I had either 3, 8, or 13. So
Well,
I don't know, I've never been super picky about numbers. My dad always told me you don't need the luck, just make it a
right.
lucky number. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's no like any interesting story between the numbers. You just like pick them, or did you pick one of them because on any reason?
So number 3 was my dad's favorite number, and that was my first number that I chose.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 was Iniesta's number. I am a big time
Oh.
cooler. I
Oh,
love
okay.
Barcelona. That's been my favorite team since I was 7 years old. So I loved watching Iniesta because he was always somebody that made a huge difference on the field, but I don't think he got as much attention as, say, like Messi, but he was just doing all the magic out there. Even not being as much in the spotlight as somebody like Messi, you know.
Yeah, correct. And even though I'm like soaring, I'm not with Barcelona. I'm with Real Madrid.
Ah,
I also think that two of the gold um gold foot like trophies they're supposed to be to Iniesta and Xavi and not to Messi because he won some of them also because of them. So I definitely believe like you they deserve a lot of credits when they play with them.
that I think that was one of the best eras of Barcelona football. Watching Messi, Suarez, Xavi, Iniesta, Neymar, Piqué, Jordi Alba,
Yeah,
Busquets. I mean, just it was such a beautiful style of play to watch, and especially Xavi and Iniesta, the way that they and Busquets
yeah. Oops, I'm
that
sorry.
should be back
Okay.
now.
Yeah, he's back.
Um,
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
I think somebody called you, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. If it's just 1 second, that's what it means. If it was like longer, then I would have to make some adjustment. If it was just 1 second, I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just watching that midfield was incredible. And I think I have a very special tie to Barcelona because I looked at Messi and he's 5'7". Xavi is 5'5".
Yeah.
Iniesta, they say 5'6" or 5'7". And I was always told growing up that, it was an advantage if you're big and strong and athletic and tall, and the physicality was always really um it was a big thing in America. But watching them play,
Yeah.
even being shorter
Yeah.
and doing these unbelievable things on the field, it inspired me and taught me how to play, being at the height that I am.
Yeah, and definitely there's a lot of examples with in time and through other clubs or even other countries with a lot of short players that make a big impact to the game. And definitely you mentioned them because it's in your era, but I could mention some other ones when I was a kid like you and stuff like that. So you already absorbed another question of mine that I want to ask you if the height was ever an advantage or a disadvantage for you. Like you already answered this. So now I want to ask you because I see like you also like wanted to coach and uh, if you're gonna build your own uh, coaching management and style, or if you think from all of your coaches that you had, somebody like inspired you more, and you're gonna try to pick some of his techniques and style, or you're just gonna go like doing your own thing in time.
So there are a number of goals that I have right now. I am planning to drop a soccer course,
Hmm.
and I'm working hard on that right now. I think with all of the experiences and work that I've put in throughout the years, being able to give back to youth players or just players in general who want to improve their game, I've put a lot of work into it. I've bought courses. I've had my fair share of injuries that I've had to recover from. I have professional experience overseas. I was the first woman to play UPSL men's soccer. So I've had a lot of experiences. I've worked with a number of different coaches and organizations, some of the best in the state. So just being able to apply those experiences and offer any knowledge or insight that I have to help other people is what I'm trying to do. In terms of coaching, I think I'm going to start into privates or small groups. I don't think I want to take on a whole academy right now, um or a whole team. I think mostly focusing on individual development is what I'm interested in. And so I might run some camps or mostly just stick to small group. And then I'm also working on producing some music.
Yeah.
I am very, I'm more than just a soccer player, and this is something that's been on my mind and my heart to act upon. I really care about humanitarian causes, so um getting to advocate for clean water and clean food, especially within the US. The health standards for the food and water are far lower than the European standards, and I've learned that going overseas. And the difference between the air quality is also vast. So I'm trying to advocate for those things and even contact Congress, um advocacy for that, and then also other causes for people in need. These are, so in summary, music, coaching, and advocacy activism are at the forefront of what I'm trying to do right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, very interesting. And yeah, you already mentioned that, and you said it already that you're the first woman to ever play in men's semi-pro soccer. And I want to ask you now about the experience when you're invited to play at the 16 years old at the U.S. National team.
So, going out to the US national team camp, I was one of 40 players selected in the entire nation
Yeah.
to travel to Carson, California. I was recruited from a tournament in Phoenix, Arizona. It was an ECNL tournament, and I had two goals and an assist in the game that the national team coach was watching me.
Oh,
Going out to national camp, I scored a goal in the game, which was pretty cool. Um, it had some challenges being out there, things that I realized about, um, just that level of soccer, and also I got to see a different level of commitment than I had ever been exposed to. These girls out there were doing private trainings on top of regular trainings, and going full fledged into soccer. And I didn't get invited back after that camp, but one thing that I promised myself going into high school was that I was not going to be outworked.
yeah.
Even if the success didn't come, I was going to do and put in 100% effort and do everything within my power to level up. So I was doing training on my own when nobody was watching, and fitness on my own. I would run between 1.5 to 3 miles of sprints a week.
Oh,
And I don't know how my body handled so much on
yeah.
top of club, which is, it's a lot. I would have two games on the weekend with club and then practices during the week. I don't know how I did all of it,
All right.
but I yeah, I mean, I was just a workaholic, and I was a workaholic when nobody was watching me.
Yeah, well, that's actually something they should be, you should be like proud of it. And even the time when you said that sorry to put you to play with in the men's team, and I think maybe he took the example. He was trying to make you like Serena from tennis, or like practicing with the guys, you know.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was great to be surrounded by top-notch players in that environment that put, the guys, they're faster, stronger, taller.
yeah,
Um and so it really required me to have strong positional intelligence and awareness to get myself into positions that put me at an advantage, against people that had physical advantages over me.
yeah,
I think too, just I even my senior year of high school, I had a great challenge. I played for South Shore Select with two players that are currently on the U.S. Women's National Team, Ali Senor and Lily Real,
Mhm.
and being able to play against quality players like them every single
Mhm.
practice was just so good for my development. And I'm a growth chaser. I always like taking on challenges and pushing myself to the max. So I'm very grateful for the environments that I got to participate in.
Yeah, correct. Now, one of the things that is not happy to talk about, but it's also like a question I wanted to ask you: how many major injuries you had that stopped your career or put it on hold?
Yeah, so I've had three quite difficult injuries throughout my career. The first was in 2022. I had a tibial avulsion. It was sustained in the last 5 minutes of a practice in the spring. And I had shot the ball and I was at my peak fitness at the time. But somebody clipped me on the follow through and turned my toe outward, and my knee didn't go with it. So I felt a snap all the way from my ankle up into my knee, and I couldn't walk. And I went to seven different orthopedists, six different physical therapists, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. Initially, they told me that it would take 2 weeks to recover from. And those 2 weeks went by and I still couldn't walk. And they told me to take a large amount of Advil to try to get the inflammation down. And that I found out was actually inhibiting my recovery.
Oh,
I went 3 months without any sort of progress. And I was getting really scared that I would never run again. And at the time, I was preparing for a college season. And I ended up getting PRP. I just kept searching and searching for answers and solutions. I'm somebody that never gives up, no matter how many times I fail. So I had a lot of persistence in that situation, and the PRP ended up working out for me. And I made a full recovery. Can't tell the difference between my left and my right knee now. Haven't yeah, it's just been very strong. So that was good. And then when I played for Maine Footy in 2023, I had a great season, and the Gotham FC NWSL team was going to invite me for a trial, according to the Maine Footy staff. And 2 days before I was supposed to leave for New York, I was slide tackled from behind in a practice and I went flying in the air
phew.
and I fell on my back and I had a spinous process fracture. So I got very lucky because if it affected my spinal cord, I could have been paralyzed. But
Right.
spinous process is actually one of the easiest things to heal in the back. I made it so when you have a spinous process fracture, you have to sit out because if the bone moves at all, um, then it could affect your spinal cord. So you can't risk that. I couldn't go to the trial and I missed out on the opportunity, which was very unfortunate. I was really looking forward to that, but I had to do that in order to protect my health, and because I allowed it to recover and did things the right way, the bone actually grows back stronger than it initially is if you do everything right. So my backbone is stronger. And
Nice. That's good. That's
then
good news.
Merrimack Valley Hawks. At the end of the season, I started suffering from this thing called athletic pubalgia.
Oh,
And athletic pubalgia, it's kind of this umbrella term for anything within the core area. So that stems from your abdomen to your upper legs, anything within that core area that's disrupted. So some people have hernias. I was dealing with an adductor injury and it was chronic. It was just build up over time from doing so much activity. And I got PRP for that as well, and it's in a much better place. And I'm still actively, I think what I learned from that is to work smarter, not harder. My whole life, I was somebody that was going the extra mile, literally. But sometimes putting in your 120% effort into that mile is better than running three,
Yeah.
for your body and for your overall health. So I the other thing too is that I always would lift on my own and run on my own and try to do everything, on my own. And I think from that injury, I became a lot more receptive and open to help, uh, correcting any imbalances in my muscles, with a personal trainer. That's been essential for my health um and for healing up that injury. And I work with a personal trainer for soccer as well to
Mhm.
learn different skills. So I think just it really there was something really good that came out of that injury, and that was um a humility and a willingness to learn from other
Right.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm happy that you went through um, all those um accidents and injuries like successfully, and now that you said the bone is stronger, so that's very good news. Now I want to ask you some other question also, not just from the professional side of you, also like from a fan point of view. When do you think the woman will bring the fourth star in the on the ball?
Ooh, honestly, that's a tough question. I I think they have a very strong US national team. One of my former teammates has been playing for a while on it, and another
Yeah.
one has recently been called up. And I can say that both of them,
Mhm.
Ali and Lily, are fantastic talents. So having them on the team is a huge advantage for the nation, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm pretty confident myself because um, the game of soccer has been like really, into people's minds when it comes to the women, and I want to ask you, when do you think is going to be the same thing from the male side? Because I think it's going to take a longer time, and still, even though there's a lot of players that play overseas and some of the big clubs, it's it's hard to make a team, and most of the people still wanted to go in Europe to the most important teams and stuff, and how do you see like this, like maybe like in 10, 20 years the men's are going to be like stronger and stronger? Because I'm pretty sure, like, knowing that all the athletes in United States, mentally they're at that level all the time, but I think they just have to realize and play the game right, or maybe just is not incultured into the people's minds from the male side. The like people over here, they care more about the baseball, basketball, hockey, and so on.
Yeah, I think there is more diversity in terms of what people are interested in the US. There's many athletes that are, professional basketball players, baseball players, football players, and that is such a huge part of our culture in America. It's
Yeah,
ingrained within our culture, so and hockey as well too.
yeah,
Lacrosse is growing. So there are many opportunities for male athletes depending on what appeals to them. So I think, yeah, where it's not as heavily focused on the soccer piece, it might be more difficult, to get to the same level that Europe or South America has. Um, but I will say I've trained with some MLS Next teams locally, and the UPSL teams, but particularly the MLS Next teams were, I thought, very well run, the trainings were really good. And um yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some talented players within our system, but I think this is applied to me as well. You know, being exposed to a caliber of play that is challenging, like I was with world class. I think it's the same thing for men in the US. You know, when they go overseas and they're exposed to a higher caliber of play, it really pushes them to reach a new level as well. So, you know, where the culture is so, you know, passionate um about soccer overseas, particularly in Europe. When I was in Portugal, everyone was crazy about soccer, very, very passionate, and it was amazing to watch. And I was also in Barcelona for 3 weeks, and to witness how passionate the culture was about surrounding soccer was just, it was just incredible. So um you know, it's something that they work very hard in overseas, and just having the opportunity to play against players that are raised in those systems, I think benefits a lot of US players.
Yeah, correct. And like you said, in Portugal, they treat soccer very like passionate because I think you already know that not just because they speak the same language, but the Portuguese are called sometimes the European Brazilian, and yeah, but I thought maybe because in US the guys are seeing what the women's already did, like being the 3 times world champions. They're gonna bring more ambitions into them, and they're gonna build something in time. But like we both know, this might gonna take like longer, and yeah, it's more important to South America and Europe, and has to go like few generations to build this and have it at the same level as the other sports, like you said, you mentioned it, they're already into the culture and developing in United States. Thank you, Anna, again for this your opportunity, and sorry to keep you that long.
No,
uh,
thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make it like short, but there's so many things that I want to ask you, and you have so many experiences. And like I said, I didn't want to go through all of them because then he's gonna take us till like tomorrow, and then you might gonna fall asleep while we're talking.
Yeah.
And now at the end, how do you see and what do you expect from the next World Cup that is gonna take place next year here, also in Mexico, in Canada, and what do you expect from it, and who are you like anxious to see it?
Ooh, I honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with it too much. Uh, my mind has just kind of been overseas and focused
Yeah.
on figuring out my own career and my next step, so I haven't been paying attention to it too much.
Oh, okay.
Normally I
So
would.
yeah,
I'm always loving to watch the Copa America and Euros and Champions League and La Liga.
right,
Those are my favorite things to watch.
correct. Now that you said, speaking about your next step, so what are the next step in your professional career?
Something I'm still trying to figure out, to be honest. I'm considering a lot of factors right now. Um, I'm working alongside my agent to figure out the best thing going forward, the best move. So yeah, you know, I think God has a plan, um, and everything that I experience and every step that I take has a good purpose. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see
Yeah.
where life takes me.
Yeah, correct. And thank you again, Anna. And I wish you all the luck in the universe, not just personally, also professionally. And I hope you're gonna achieve more than you wish for. Because I don't know if in the United States, but there's a saying in Romania that if you wish for something, uh, you might not gonna get anything. If you wish for maximum, you're gonna get something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, we'll see where life takes me. I actually my dad is working on dual citizenship in both the US and Ireland too, which is pretty exciting as well.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, to you know, if I can get citizenship as well, I might I might have decisions to make regarding national teams as well.
correct.
So a lot of things in the works. We'll see where life takes me, but again, God has a plan.
Yeah,
I really truly believe that.
correct. And now that you mentioned, you already said a bunch of things about your sister, about your father. Say hi to your whole family, and I also thank him because this hour or something you spend it with me and you didn't spend it with them. So I also thank him for that. And so, dear friends, this was for this week, and we'll see you next week with another big guest. I hope you guys enjoy the journey and the story of Anna, and I hope a lot of you will follow her or her next steps, or also you're gonna follow closely the next World Cup that is gonna take place over here in a lot of cities. Also, there's gonna be 7 games they are gonna play over here in our stadium in Gillette. So see you guys next week with another big guest, and watch closely uh, the professional sports because they're gonna bring us a lot of surprises. Thank you all. See you next week.